Dave, can you just tell us a bit about, I guess, what you went through during the week, you know, the extent of the injury, you know, the pain that you were experiencing and, you know, how close you came to not playing?
Yeah, obviously I was pretty close, but unless I've got no leg, I'm not going to not walk out in the field. I probably showed that last year. Same thing, it's you don't want to miss a test match for your country, and I'll always put my best foot forward if I can. If I can get out in the park, I'll do everything I can to do that. Obviously, having a doctor at hand is pretty good as well. So, yeah, for me, the last couple of days was just, you know, clearing my mind and getting back with the family. Obviously, I was in a bit of pain, a bit of agony, not being able to pick up the kids, which is a bit tough. But from that perspective, I've just been icing, doing as much as I can to get ready. Doesn't feel great, but at the end of the day, had a test match to play and there's a series on the line, and I wanted to commit to that.
How satisfying was it to get through it the way you did, you know, the pain, but also I guess the drama that had gone on in the morning as well? You know, you were able to kind of take the heat out of that situation and set a platform.
Yeah, look, for us as a team, we set out to do what we try to do all the time. That's, as batsmen, go out there and put runs on the board. You can't help what happened with Paddy. It's inevitable, isn't it, in today's society, that people are going to, you know, get COVID or are going to be close contacts, and unfortunately he was in a spot where someone was or someone had tested positive that day. So, you know, it probably won't be it won't be the last. It probably happened throughout the summer to someone, maybe to all of us. But yeah, we just got to get through it and concentrate on the job at hand, and that's playing cricket.
Hi, David. Can you just explain the technical differences between facing, say, Stuart Broad from around the wicket in England as to what it is here? I mean, just the positions you get into and all that?
I think if you look at 7 of the dismissals, I probably played at some that I didn't have to. You had some good balls there. There's no real difference. I think in England he got the ball to dart back quite sharply, but the difference I feel is that the length that they bowled here today isn't hitting the stumps. That length there is hitting the stumps in England, and that's the difference. You know, I batted out of my crease. Marnus did as well, to be able to adapt to leave the ball, you know, on a good length, and we backed ourselves that the ball was going to go over the stump. So that was something that we learned from obviously the Gabba. The Gabba bounces a bit more compared to here, so we had to make little minor adjustments and negate that. So yeah, that was our game plan.
And just were you slightly surprised with how early they went for that short pitch ploy? And in a way, did they kind of play into your hands with that?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, that's a tactic that they've obviously tried to, put through to us. But you know, I don't know why they were doing that. But for us, as you always have to do, play each ball on its merits. Obviously here it's short, square, so you know you just got to back yourself to have a game plan and stick to that. And obviously they mix up their fields as well with different field placements. And then from your perspective, it's about, you know, how you're going to adapt to that situation, and that's what we tried to do. And yeah, it gets into positions where you're almost in one-day mode as well. You know, there's gaps in front of the wicket, so you know, a couple of flat bat shots. You know, because once you hit 1 or 2 boundaries away and they start leaking, then you got to change tactics. But they obviously didn't do that, so yeah, it could have worked into our plan a little bit, and the ball gets softer.
Dave, just one on Pat. You know, you talked about I suppose the risk that you'll kind of accept. Is it also true on the other end that you need to have some degree of normality? I suppose you talked about seeing your family, and I suppose the relative freedoms you're getting this summer next to, say, last summer.
Yeah, well, I think the decision is based on the government here in South Australia. I won't enter politics discussions here because, yeah, it's not my place to speak. But yeah, that's the rules, isn't it? So I think we saw that in England with players testing positive, or the staff, and then they played the next day. So you're governed by what state you're in, pretty much. I'm just glad it got changed to 7 days, not 14, for Pat's sake and our sake.
And just, were you talking about the bowling, the lengthening of the bowling before? Given the number of times the ball's beaten your bat rather than you getting an edge, have you been sort of expecting them to change it up over the course of even just a day as opposed to a couple of test matches?
Well, that's what you do as a batsman. You've got to hold your shape, and if you miss it, you miss it, so be it. And then you're happy to get out, if you nick a good ball, as long as you're not following it. And I think that's one thing that I've done well the last 2 innings that I've played. I probably followed one or two balls in Brisbane. I was a little lazy in one where I obviously got dropped. But today I felt like I was in the right zone and playing my areas and tried to create a bit of length to cut and pull. And that's what we spoke about out there, because we'll get nothing. So, it's one of those, hard grinding days. And yeah, I think it's a big tick for us.
Dave, just following on from Dan's question, you spoke earlier about sort of the inevitability that we're all probably going to end up as close contacts or something over the next few months. Is the balance right at the moment as far as the protocols go for you guys in terms of giving you guys the freedom to still have a life, or do they possibly need to be tightened to ensure that there's not mass amounts of players being ruled out of games?
Yeah, well, look, the rules for us are 3 players can be at a venue. That's the rule, and obviously there were 3 there last night, but 2 were outside. So we have to check in each other to see what restaurants everyone's going to. So, but the rules obviously in Sydney and Melbourne are different. We can't eat indoors because obviously this was a different level compared to there. But obviously with the borders opening and COVID obviously hitting, South Australia, it's up to obviously the medical staff. But it's just being smart, isn't it? So don't go to where you think restaurants are going to be jam-packed. Thankfully, it's a day-night game. We don't have to worry about that now. But obviously, breakfast and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's a tough one, but we've got to just be smart.
And just on yourself, did you need any painkilling injections before today? I think I saw you taking the tablets out there. Were they painkillers, I assume?
A couple of painkillers, yeah. No, I did had a local this morning just before I went out to bat. Probably hurt more than what the ribs are at the moment. But yeah, as I said before, I was always going to get out in the park as best I could, and obviously if I had the doctor handy, it was going to work. But yeah, unfortunately, that thing didn't work.
Dave, just quite unusual, I guess, to see you go through the first hour of play with 1 run on the board. And I know you spoke about the grind that was there, but just how soon, I guess, did you know how patient you were going to have to be? And also just the way that you paced that innings, the amount of patience that you showed.
Yeah, to answer that in simple terms is I actually didn't even look at the scoreboard. I didn't even notice until I think I got off the mark. I think it was like the 20th ball or something. I looked up. I didn't even realise. I was actually surprised I hadn't got off the mark yet. It was quite funny. But yeah, drinks. I think the guys, Uzi and Marnus were saying you're only on 1. I was laughing to myself. I was like, well, they're giving us nothing. So, from there it's about just holding your bat, keep your shape, and not follow the ball. So, yeah, from that perspective, it was about, I think after lunch or dinner, whatever you call it, you start thinking, all right, how can I put some pressure on them? Can I get deep in my crease, create that length ball and get off strike? So you get a bit of momentum, and then you earn the over pitch delivery or that short pitch delivery. So that's all I was thinking about when we were out there. And obviously Marnus, who just loves cricket, was talking too much cricket to me out there. I had to zone out from that.